Having been a permanent co-host for a year, Mark Consuelos is now discussing the challenges of anchoring the long-running show, Midday Show alongside Kelly Ripa, his wife. In an interview that recently aired on Ripa's podcast, Let's Talk Off Camera, Consuelos reflected on his time as co-host of the ABC show and how different things were when he was only a guest host occasionally. In the absence of Ryan Searist, Consuelos frequently filled in as host. But last April, after 6 years on the show, the American Idol presenter left live, giving Consuelos the opportunity to take a permanent seat next to his wife. Consuelos admitted that, now that he is shouldering more responsibilities, he lets Ripa lead the way, especially when it comes to interviewing guests. The question-asking habit remained with him, he admitted. That is incorrect. It's completely false. You're thinking about it, Ripa reassured her husband. The Riverdale actress continued. I still mess up, indicating her continued lack of conviction. I seem to make a fool of myself nearly daily. He proceeded to make a joke about how he covers his blunders by waiting for the audience to start clapping. Consuelos went on to say that his full-time employment on the ABC sitcom made the situation twice as difficult. Over the past 22 years, Ripa has hosted live shows, starting in 2001 with the late Regis Philbin and continuing through 2011, then in 2012 with Michael Strahan, and finally from 2017 to 2023 with Searist. However, the veteran broadcaster is contemplating retirement, thus her current stint with Consuelos may be her last. Consuelos stated to Entertainment Tonight in September of last year, I think it's a real thing, in reference to Ripa's contemplation of retirement. She's been doing that for 23 years, he murmured. In my opinion, it will be quite some time before that happens. I can tell she's enjoying herself. I'm enjoying myself immensely, but yeah, there will come a time when she finally decides to leave. She will have earned it more than anyone else. Mark Consuelos has been very forthright about the difficult and humiliating nature of the role as permanent co-host alongside Kelly Ripa for the past year. The actor recently reflected on his transition from occasional guest host to full-time partner on an episode of Ripa's podcast, Let's Talk Off Camera. He admitted that the responsibilities had brought out mistakes, undermined his confidence, and forced him to rely on his wife's seasoned instincts. The tone of the admission is both humorous and instructive. Consuelos offers advice on how to handle awkward lines while waiting for the acclaim of the crowd to save him. A more serious acknowledgement, however, lies beneath the humor. The ability to host a live, high-profile daytime program is a talent that can be learned, not inherited. Being a permanent employee last April brought a new set of demands after years of filling in for Ryan Searist, including more frequent guest appearances, longer periods of airtime, and the challenge of performing with your spouse in front of millions. Examining what the experience implies about the broader dynamics of celebrity marriage, on-air performance, and professional reinvention, this piece revisits Consuelos' thoughts and places them in the context of the program's history. Consuelos had been a fixture on the show for quite some time before she became a regular at the live table. During Ryan Searist's time on the show, he frequently filled in for the absent co-host thanks to his acting chops, which he honed on shows like Riverdale and All My Children. The dynamic changes when the guest position becomes the main job. Although guest hosting allows a performer to jump in occasionally, absorbing the rhythms of a program without sole responsibility of the next morning's performance. Consuelos put it nicely. It was twice as difficult after I invested some real money. Because of the shift, there is now constant pressure to look good all the time, not just while you're entertaining. Mistakes like forgetting a question, a cue during an interview, or misinterpreting the tone of a piece were more apparent as the learning curve progressed. When broadcast live, those little mistakes can seem much bigger. Consuelos is not describing an original problem. A lot of people who have been around for a while have talked about how live television is different. Scripted drama typically uses controlled pace and retakes, but morning shows focus on the here and now. Talk show hosts nowadays have a lot on their plates between teleprompters, live audience reactions, producer signals, and guests, some of whom may be nervous, unprepared, or unexpectedly honest. It's a way of performing that combines emotional intelligence, rapid thinking, and improv comedy to accommodate a diverse audience. Doing it with a woman who has been doing it for more than 20 years made it even more challenging for Consuelos. Kelly Ripa has extensive knowledge of the show's rhythms, institutional memory, and instincts honed during her years as host. The contrast turns into an inherent pressure test when compared to someone starting their first full-time morning job. A pleasantly self-assured attitude characterizes Consuelos' handling of mistakes. The podcast featured his description of a pattern of behavior. It seems like every day he makes a gaffe and then the adulation from the crowd makes him look good. There are multiple uses for that candor. Let me start by saying that it makes him seem more relatable. People love to watch celebrities who are human and can easily make fun of themselves. Secondly, the tension around them is reduced when the stakes are openly disclosed. Fans are more likely to be understanding if they see that the host isn't afraid to admit when they're wrong. A strategic performance tool, the comedy serves another purpose. In order to avoid criticism and even turn an embarrassing gaffe into a selling point, many hosts resort to self-deprecation. A relatable, somewhat vulnerable, and genuine persona is created in Consuelos' instance by her history of mistakes and her good-natured rehabilitation. You can use all of these traits to your advantage on morning TV. Consuelos confessed that he often lets Kelly take the lead during guest interviews, which was a very significant statement in his observations. A lot of people still don't ask him many questions, he admitted. This self-evaluation was false, Ripa humorously replied. The dynamic is evident regardless of the exact count, particularly in areas where Ripa has much knowledge. Consuelos respects her judgment and gives her the benefit of the doubt. This arrangement makes sense from a practical standpoint. With 22 years of experience as a morning TV anchor and numerous co-hosts under her belt, Ripa knows the ins and outs of what topics work well together, how to steer the conversation back on track when it goes off course, and how to ask the right questions. Consuelo promotes a smoother airflow and avoids superfluous energy by acknowledging that skill and letting go of the reins. A display of humility and trust is the difference. A problem that arises in many celebrity relationships is ego. When people in a team have conflicting goals for resources like visibility and power, collaboration suffers. Consuelos' humility in interviews is indicative of his dedication to the show's quality rather than his own personal success. A competitive advantage and a logistical obstacle are both presented by co-hosting with one spouse. Married co-hosts, on the plus side, have chemistry just by being themselves. They are familiar with each other's routines, chuckle at one another's jokes, and have a shared past to draw from. That genuineness often makes for captivating television. When chemistry is real and not too produced, viewers can tell. But there's a risk of monotony due to overfamiliarity when people have a lot in common, such in a shared life or workplace. The phenomenon of couple on-screen fatigue is well documented. The risk of losing the spontaneity necessary to keep the job fresh increases when the private sphere becomes the product. The coupling of Ripa and Consuelo must strike a balance between being genuine and making an attempt to avoid cliches. A broader range of abilities is yet another perk of collaborating with your partner. Consuelos brings her acting chops and comedic timing to the table, while Ripa brings her experience in interviews and her knack for organizing the program to perfection. Comprehending and purposefully utilizing these complementary assets is the key to a fruitful cooperation. While working side by side with Ripa for 6 years, Ryan Sears set the standard for live, professional, modern, and multi-platform advertising. With a unique kind of media omnipresence and an unfaltering work ethic, Sears is a seasoned host. After his departure in April, the show needed a considerate replacement who could keep viewers engaged while giving it a new look. With Consuelos' hiring as permanent co-host, the show took a new turn, adopting a deeper, more intimate interaction between the hosts and embracing their marital chemistry as a selling point. There is no guarantee that production values will fall because of that shift. In an emotional and heart-wrenching turn of events, beloved actor Mark Consuelos has been diagnosed with cancer, leaving both his family and fans in shock. His wife, Kelly Ripa, the well-known talk show host, has been left utterly devastated by the news, her heart breaking as she supports her husband through this unimaginable battle. The couple, who have always been a symbol of strength and love, have shared many moments with the public over the years. But this recent revelation has changed everything. Sources close to the family have confirmed that Mark is currently undergoing treatment, although details regarding the stage and type of cancer remain private to respect their privacy. Kelly, who has been by Mark's side through thick and thin, has taken to social media to express her sorrow, describing how her life has been turned upside down by this unexpected and life-altering news. Fans and colleagues from around the world have flooded her posts with messages of support, sending prayers and strength to the Consuelos family as they face this challenging journey. Despite the overwhelming emotions, Kelly remains hopeful, as does Mark. The couple's strong bond, built over decades of love and partnership, will undoubtedly be their greatest strength as they navigate through this tough time. However, this news has touched the hearts of many, leaving a deep sadness in the entertainment community. Fans are rallying behind them, showing love and support, hoping for a miracle, and sending their heartfelt wishes for Mark's speedy recovery. As the family faces this challenging period, we can only hope for the best, sending our love and thoughts to Mark, Kelly, and their children during this heartbreaking time.